Ascension pioneers, and welcome to my video about, well, commitment, devotions to divine love, to our journey, to our purpose. So a lot of the times on this journey of being an Ascension pioneer and, possibly being a volunteer soul here on this planet to help seed and birth a new era, serving as in transition years towards the new, it's very important to understand the nature of commitment. As you know, there's a saying, I think, in this prayer. I don't know if that's in Bible because I didn't read it, or it's just one of the prayers that goes, when you pray to the God Almighty, and you say, what do you say? Something about, please lead us not into temptation, something like that, So recently I had this sentence in my mind. It just came because what this really means, it's not connected with the sin. There is no sin. There's just choice and conscious experience. So when you think about temptation, it's really just that which keeps us distracted from our path, which really just keeps us from being really focused on what we came here to do. The more we know this, the more we stay true to that, the more narrow our path becomes. Not narrow in a way, narrow-minded. It just becomes more narrow in focus. It's more focused. It's like if you imagine a beam of light that just shines through the clouds, and it's really focused. But it also shines all of you. It illuminates everything, even if it's just one ray. It's about the focus of how powerful it is. So when you think of commitment in the new, commitment is all about really staying true to yourself, to your focus, to your purpose. And a lot of the times we all perceive these tiny little distractions. It's even sometimes, it doesn't just come through other people that, don't understand what you're doing and kind of want to, pull you into their own dramas and scenarios instead of you just walking your own. But everything that you might perceive that, you still give your power away to. So it's like, the saying that goes, build bridges instead of building walls. So when you look at things like that, and when you think that there's distractions that are external and you start creating walls, that's really not serving you. So when you really walk in a path of commitment, you actually walk in the path of light. So even though you feel there's distractions, they're constant distractions, you know your power, you know how to stand your ground, how to be firm, how to stay in your spiritual integrity. My path concerns a lot of this because I have a lot of people around me, a lot of emails, a lot of correspondence, a lot of sharings, and it takes a lot of focus for me. And when you're mastering focus for yourself, you can also show this to others. And focus, like I said, it doesn't mean when something distracts you, when you feel it like a distraction, that now you have to go into the offensive or defensive mode and you start playing the victim and you just singled everything out. Like I said, it's more important, even in the path of commitment, to build bridges instead of building walls. Of course, if something is very negative, it just seeks to consume you with all this negativism, you will remove yourself in a peaceful state of being. You will become the ambassador of peace. But still, you don't create walls around you. You still hold a space of love. You don't become offended by something just because you perceive it as a negative distraction, then you hold resentment towards it. That's not really a path of conscious choosing when you're really walking in soul awareness. So why is a path of commitment so important? Because it's all there is. It's fusing your own perspective of what you feel as your free will with the greater will that is divine. So when you walk in that greater alignment, that greater focus, which becomes a really important aspect on this path of ascension, and as you know, many masters spoke about this. They spoke about devotion, the honor of service, the loyalty to that, and the understanding of your path, of your sacred oath, and then staying true to that oath. Because we all made sacred agreements before coming here, but not everybody is now, ouch. Not everybody bites. Not everybody now is honoring them. So really being committed to what we really came here to do is honoring our sacred agreements. This means not dealing with other people's agreements, not getting involved in the messy kind of way, because they have their own agreements. And a lot of the times when we try to be controlling of others, or we wish to have opinions about what others are doing, we just don't value that they have their own. You might not resonate with something, but you're not gonna become a part of it and start judging and you can say, well, this just doesn't, align naturally with my path because I'm committed to my own path. But you won't go in a mode of, becoming opinionated about that. This is what commitments really mean. The moment you start doing that, you're already plugging into somebody else's broadening spectrum, and you're kind of removing yourself away from yours, and you're being distracted with all these different things. So distractions can come in many forms, as you know. They're not just other people, they're also things, you know. It's a natural sense of self-indulgence in a balanced way is very natural to us as human beings that love to live sensually and experience the reality through senses. But it's very kind of thin line between natural indulgence and the indulgence that is overindulgence. Because again, it can distract you. You can perceive that also through the archetype of the mischief in tarot. This is, I think it's labeled as the devil card, and this is nothing like scary or dualistic. It's just that aspect of us that overindulges with something that is really not of your true path. That's just maybe kind of like a factor of distraction that will kind of push you, allure you away into something that's not really natural to your path. So a lot of times we want something, we say we want something, we feel this is our path, but we don't always honor it with integrity, so we become too much intermingled with other things that are not of that servitude path. So commitment is therefore so very much important. There was a beautiful newsletter coming in that I received recently. It was from Salvador Kelly, one of the people I really like and admire. And he wrote about commitment just as I was thinking about this and was really much in alignment. And he wrote about how important this is on our path, because there are a lot of things that just might distract us. And he even wrote about the numbers decreasing, you know, in his workshops with people before 2012 and after 2012. As you know, there was a lot of people who were just curious. They just wanted things to happen, you know, without the proper inner integrity work of alignment with your own soul. So there's a lot of people like that just fall away. Even in my own path, a lot of people, when you look at who maybe resonate with you for a while, they just remove themselves away again, because when you deepen the level of what you're talking about, the more truth that you bring, there's only going to be a bunch of people who will really want to walk in that same integrity and alignment. And he explained the same thing. He said there's actually less people coming to the workshops, but these people are more committed. They're more in integrity, in alignment with what's really meant to be shared there in a sacred space. So when you think about the commitment, it's really important that when you choose a path that is just yours, it is completely unique. But then when you look at others, what they're doing, you know, and you're like, oh, look at what they're doing. Maybe I want a bit of that, or maybe I want a bit of that. And you're kind of like in the space of always in between. You can't decide, and you can't choose consciously for yourself, because, you know, being a master of the self requires immense sense of sacrifice, but that's not a sacrifice for the negative. It's a sacrifice for the greater version of you, if you know what I mean. Sometimes we want to stay in something that feels familiar, or we might compare ourselves with other people, and we want a part of that. But if we really lived that, we would see that we wouldn't want it. Because this week I was asking myself, how would it be to be an actor? Would I really like it? And then I was thinking about it and how I am, because I know myself completely. And I thought, oh gosh, it'd be interesting for maybe one day. And then I get really bored, you know, and you meet all these people and you have to go to these events, and they always have to, you know, put all this makeup, and you have to, you know, be hours just doing what they tell you to do. One part is fun, you know, when you act, these things that you might love to act about. But then I thought, but I would just get so bored, because it's not my path. There's nothing wrong with being an actor. You see, I was just thinking, we don't often think, when we think about what we want, what others have. There's a lot of people who still are kind of like in between. They know what's their path, but also they're kind of being lured away, you know, distracted in a sense. So they keep being prevented from really feeling the gratification process of unification of you. That means being self-realized, living as one with your master self, really expressing that. So a lot of times, like the great astrologer Bill Atreides, I don't know how it's pronounced, his last name. It's Bill, okay, Bill. And he wrote about this. He said the path that masters walk is sometimes an isolated one. Not an isolated, but it can be a lonely one, because there's only a few who will be that devoted, who will be that dedicated to this level of commitment, and so they still keep on walking, and he said just keep on walking. And when we embrace this path, it will come with certain sense of sacrifice, but it won't be a sacrifice that you will kind of deny something from yourself. It will just be a natural expansion into the greater part of yourself, but it's a natural choice. Not everybody yet is ready to make that. So when I do my work of devotion, which I do, it's, you know, when I share these videos, it's not just to appear here and talk and, you know, have a monologue with myself. It's my work of spirit. It's my divine assignment. This is kind of like if you consider my job, except the only boss is not somebody above me, it's just spirit. That's all there is, and it's same for you when you become the boss of yourself through spirit. So the level of commitment is even more needed when you become self-employed, or, you know, a boss of yourself in your own natural sovereignty, when you walk in that self-empowerment. So you will see sometimes people who don't have that inner initiation, they can easily get distracted or bored and not so much committed. So not everybody yet is ready to be their own inner boss, because it takes your own inner initiative. And commitment requires a lot of inner initiative and a lot of imagination, a lot of being really free in what you do. So this is a gift. For somebody it might be a curse, you know, it's all about different perspectives. But when you are that free in your commitments, you will see that they actually bring you a great sense of pleasure, self-fulfillment, and joy. So I always live in that bliss, and sometimes I ask myself, how could it be if I chose another path? And the answer is always the same, but I couldn't, because I couldn't choose it. It's not my variation of creation. It's not who, you know, what I am in energy essence. It's what I do. I'm meant to serve. I'm meant to share this higher knowledge that I have in spirit form. So sometimes we know our path, but we still kind of, because we're not so fully embodied in it, so really aligned with it physically, we get distracted. So the more we are aligned, the less these distractions will come. You might get distracted, but it doesn't really affect you, so you won't really fall for it. So we all have that archetype of the devil sometimes, and it's good because in a way it shows us how much more empowered we're getting, you know, through each step of the way, walking this journey. So consider it about commitments. Think about what your commitments are, continue to reevaluate, reassess them, and really feel why you're called to do something. Is it just because of the tendency of your personality, because of self-indulgence, or is it because of a higher indulgence? It's because this is a higher calling. So when you walk the path of self-mastery and ascension, you will see that it becomes a higher calling. And the only thing I always say to myself is, I only serve you, the one, so just show me what to do. And it's not giving up my will, because my will and divine will are one. And this level of awareness, they're one. And the same goes for you. So until next time, until next video, I'm wishing you so much of that beautiful commitment to yourself with a capital S. So much love, wisdom, and power, and take care. Goodbye. My dear beloveds, today I wish to show you the amazing specimen of the physical embodiment of the tree of life, which I found here in one of my favorite mountain valleys. And you have to know that this sort of tree is very unspecific for this area. It is completely different, and it's very much isolated here. And when I saw it for the first time, I had this knowing like, oh, tree of life, and you look, there's these mountains that it overlooks, and I just felt the energy, and this is where I found the raven's feather. And you have to know that the tree of life is always a symbol of our own divine blueprint. It's the symbol of our own unique soul essence and our path, our destined journey. So I don't know if you follow my posts on Facebook, but I posted a while ago because I found something that I seem to really embrace as something spectacular, because I found two exact the tree of life stones, which I later, one of them I painted as the tree of life, and one of them I just left in natural form, but they were literally the same, and I found them weeks apart and on different parts of the beach. But the tree of life is always this symbol to just embrace, to embrace our destiny, to embrace the path that we have set for ourselves before coming here. So let's go a bit closer towards the tree. and see if it has any magical messages for us. There's this lovely enchanted house there in the back, and I don't know, but I really feel this tree. It's like, you see, it's like the root of the origin, and then it just moves. If you're noticing any shapes or anything in particular, just feel into it. As you know, I always like to guide you guys to feel things on your own, to get your own messages. But the tree of life is it's just very symbolic. As you see, there's two sides of the polarity, divine masculine and feminine, and they embrace each other as one. So this is this beautiful essence which is intertwined, and then they form all, you see these branches are all these different aspects of creations, all these different forms and birds of many different things, and this is what it represents. So if you notice any symbologies like this, as you know, this is also represented in the Kabbalah teachings, but it's not just the Kabbalah, it's universal. This knowledge is of all. I would like to also remind you that the knowing that many masters have shared, you know, people say this is Master Jesus knowing or this is Buddha's knowing. It's not like that. The knowing that these masters have, because they walk that path of self-mastery and the law of one, that knowing is cosmic, it's universal, it's for all. It doesn't belong to any specific master, it's not theirs. The graces of the divine, we're just extensions of it, and it's universal. Remember that. So this is what the tree of life also reminds us of. I hope I don't trip when I walk backwards, but I really wanted to share this with you. If you find any specific trees in your area that really feel like, wow, this is the tree of life, and this is the exact same one that I was painting myself and that I found in the image of those two stones, so this is pretty magical for me. I want to leave you with the scene. Remember, magic already lives inside of us, so until next time, I'll see you soon.